What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video this morning to talk about Sauce Gardner and his hilarious answer when asked about Daniel Jones and the joint practice with the New York Giants. This one kind of fell through the cracks yesterday. I wanted to get my reaction out to practice promptly. I'm glad that I did because the video is doing well, but while I reacted quickly to get the video out and talk about joint practice, I missed something that happened, and I thought it was worthwhile to talk about on the channel here today. When you're seriously hurt, your injury could be worth millions. Morgan & Morgan doesn't settle for lowball offers. They achieved significant verdicts in the past couple of months for victims involved in life-altering car crashes. It only takes a few short minutes to see if you have a case, and the fee is absolutely free unless you win. Over 3 million people like you call them every single year in their time of need, and they've recovered over $20 billion for their clients over the years. If you've ever gotten seriously injured, your case could be worth millions, and you're only a few clicks away from potentially changing your life. It's so easy. You can start your claim now with Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/Matt, found in the description, or by scanning the QR code on your screen from your phone's camera. You can contact Morgan & Morgan today. So Sauce Gardner was interviewed after practice today, and he was asked about what he thought going up against Daniel Jones and going up against the New York Giants, and he gave his answer. It's a longer clip, but I think we got to play the full clip on this one because you got to see it.
What was your opinion or takeaway on Daniel Jones?
He's a good quarterback. You feel me? I thought I was about to pick him off today. I had a little cloud rep. You know, he had looked at the last minute to try to throw the check down to Wandale. You know, I thought I had to pick, but he kept it. I mean, the competitive periods, it was very competitive, man. It was great. Like, I had fun out there today, you know. I don't really know what to say. Like,
I mean, he's a good quarterback. I don't really know what else to say. These athletes are put in a really tough spot sometimes. They are asked very tough questions from the reporters sometimes, and this was one of those instances. I mean, I think he did the best that he could in that one. Tried to hold it together. You're trying to be polite. You don't want to throw anybody under the bus. And I guess maybe by how Sauce answered the question, he unintentionally ended up doing that. But it's not like the uncommon knowledge. Unfortunately for the Giants and Daniel Jones, like, he's going into his sixth season. And if you watch the most recent Giants preseason game, Daniel Jones is still making the same mistakes that he was making as a very young player in this league. He is very turnover prone. He takes a ton of sacks, takes a ton of self-inflicted pressure. Yes, some extenuating circumstances also don't help with the Giants and Daniel Jones. Like, he hasn't had the best of offensive lines. He hasn't had the best cast of characters to throw the ball to. It feels very reminiscent of from Giants fans, by the way, because I do Big Apple Blitz with Anthony every Monday and Thursday, and we see it. It's very reminiscent of the old Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold debates, and it's very contentious among Giants fans. And I really can't imagine being in that spot, because they've been doing this this is Jones's 6th season. That's the same amount of time as Sam Darnold was here and Zach Wilson was here. Imagine doing that same fight for that entirety about the same player. At least with Jets fans, We had those same fights, but about two different guys. The Giants fans have been doing it for the same guy for 6 years. That's tough. That's a real tough go of it for the Giants and Daniel Jones and the Giants fans. And again, Sauce Gardner is a good kid. I don't think he meant any ill will by it. It just ended up turning into a viral clip and a funny clip, and that wasn't the only viral there were tons of viral moments from yesterday on the field. I mean, you had Garrett Wilson absolutely destroying Nick McLeod yesterday. I showed you the clips yesterday. I'll pop one on the screen right now as we're talking about it, because the guy just took his game to another level once again in the joint practice. He's done that 3 times now. Garrett Wilson has had 3 absolutely stellar joint practices, and that has to give you really, really, big, exciting feelings going into the start of the regular season. But even it was still on the field, but there were some other viral moments too from yesterday. Sauce Gardner had another one where he was waving bye to the Giants, and after practice they absolutely dominated. The Jets dominated yesterday. The Giants came into their practice facility and the offense didn't do anything. The defense really struggled to stop Aaron Rodgers and the offense. The only positives for the Giants really were when Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns, were going up against Carter Warren and Max Mitchell. Once they went up against Tyron Smith, Tyron Smith had one of his best practices of training camp so far. He was dominant. The pockets were there for Aaron Rodgers to deliver the football. It was a really impressive showing from the Jets offense. Not only was Sauce in on the fun, you also had Breece Hall too, who had to check Justin Simmons' ankles after scoring a touchdown on him. Oh man, listen, for years and years and years and years and years, Jet fans are used to being the ones who are clowned, and it's not fun. I get it. It's something that Jet fans have gone through a lot, unfortunately, over the years. But the Jets are, at least in the joint practices, against Washington and the Giants, not so much against Carolina. They didn't have a great joint practice against Carolina, but against Washington and the Giants, who are 2 teams who are not expected to be very good this year, unfortunately, they dominated. And that's a sign of a good football team. If the Jets have very high expectations for this year, if you're going to be a good football team and a team with Super Bowl aspirations, you have to beat the crap out of and you have to embarrass the teams that aren't any good. And the Jets never do that. I mean, think about it. Over the last even just couple of years where they started off well and only ended up winning 7 games, how many of those games were real blowouts? The only, off the top of my head, the Houston game was probably the most comfortable win of that stretch. It looked like the Washington one was going to be a dominant performance, and then they end up making it sweat. So there's not many times where the Jets are up 17 in the second half and just cruising. That never happens. And I'm hoping it's something that happens this year for this team, because they deserve it. Number one, the fans deserve it. We've been through a lot. It would be nice to have a couple times where you cruise to a win, but I think the players are just ready too. And I think that was our sign of it yesterday. The Jets dominated. They had their fun. And I had to come on and share that. If you missed that clip from yesterday, it was just too good not to share. Guys, that's going to do it for me. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you next time.